What should we expect in 2024? There are lots of rumors about Jisr Nasera, the dystopian utopia government system starting up later this year. We've heard April 2024, but that's far too soon. The collapse would have needed to begin at New Year's because much has to come before that time. Another date given is July 4th. That's a United States poetic date, and if the crash began in February or March, it could be a good guess. But instead of looking at dates, which sets people up for disappointment, let's look at what has to happen before the dystopian utopia of Jisr Nasera comes. The events I present are not necessarily in order, but just events that should happen for the collapse to come, and the order out of chaos to complete itself earthwide. The USA has been the world totalitarian and military backbone of the Black Lodge, but the USA didn't do this alone. A power web was formed in 1949 called NATO, or the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. NATO is a security and political hive mind. Of course, these are my words. There was another trade organization created in 1975 called the G7. The G7 is an intergovernmental political and economic forum consisting of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America, and incorporated as the Group of Seven. The Group of Seven then created the G20 in 1999, which mirrors much of the UN agendas. In order to keep the political illusion alive, the Black Lodge strongholds must be destroyed by the White Lodge, so then they can look like the heroes and leaders we've been programmed to hope for. And the public will cheer when the leader of the White Lodge shows himself and takes on the final Antichrist. In the Bible, high places and mountains are referred to as places of power, which also means government or jurisdictional power, such as countries. The political and financial world web of control created by the G7 can also be what Revelation 17:9 means. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sitteth. The angel explained that the beast's 7 heads are 7 mountains. Many expositors attribute these 7 mountains to the 7 hills of Rome. Originally, Rome included 7 hills on the Tiber River. If Rome, the city of 7 hills, is referred to in this verse, we must conclude that Rome is the beast's capital city, or, as some do, that the religious power behind the Antichrist is connected to Catholicism. However, the following verse also refers to these 7 mountains as kings, Revelation 17:10. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. When he cometh, he must continue a short space. It is unwise, therefore, to be dogmatic about identifying the city of Rome as the beast's capital city, or a reference to a particular religion. Just as a mountain rises above its surrounding area, so an unrighteous king or ruler exalts himself above his subjects. Further, a mountain is strong and may represent a king's political strength. In the tribulation, the beast arises as a strong political figure who exalts himself to the point of declaring that he is God and demanding that people worship him. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3-4. Let no one deceive you in any way, for that day will not come unless the rebellion comes first, and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the son of destruction, who opposes and exalts himself against every so-called God or object of worship, so that he takes his seat in the temple of God, proclaiming himself to be God. Some may argue that including the USA in the 7 hills doesn't work because the 7 powers surround Mystery Babylon. So you can't include Mystery Babylon in these 7 hills or mountains, and in that explanation they'd be correct. However, it does go another level deep. The city that is destroyed in a day is Washington, D.C., which is its own jurisdiction and country within the USA. The Constitution dictates that the federal district be under the jurisdiction of the U.S. Congress. Washington, D.C. operates as a state while also performing functions of a city and a country. The states protect D.C. to allow the city to lord over the earth, thus making the G7 the seven powers or hills that protect the District of Columbia. Columbia was visualized as a goddess-like female and the personification of the United States and of liberty itself. Columbia is the reinvention of Minerva from Rome or Athena from Greece, and the retelling of the antediluvian fallen structures that the incestuous bloodlines covet, calling those days the Golden Era, and they have been working so hard to return to. Grasping this branch helps you to truly understand Babylon and its extended form all over the world. It helps you to see how we are not free but slaves to an ancient deception that keeps repeating itself. Because the USA has been the sword of the Black Lodge, we will be looking at the coming destruction of the USA and its structures that assisted the Black Lodge throughout the earth. The signal of the fall of the USA came on September 11th, 2001. This was a signal that the great changes are going to come and life is going to be much darker and violent as the Black Lodge began their strategy for world depopulation and domination through fear, called the War on Terror, and the illusion of scarcity in energy production. This isn't a breakdown of 9/11, but there are plenty of books you can get to help you figure out the deceptions and creations of the new authorities like Homeland Security that would be used to control populations like a noose, slowly suffocating every aspect of life and family. The biggest part of the plan to destroy the US comes from within. Agents would be sent in from other countries to help destabilize the nation in secret. This began with the Operation Paperclip, where Access officials were brought into the USA for scientific research and the space race. The second phase of invasion came through the Cold War, where high-valued actors would be brought in again to help with scientific research and the Cold War. If you watch any spy show, you will see this practice being demonstrated to the public. The TV show The Americans was an excellent example of predictive programming. It showed agents in high levels of government working to destabilize the USA. Homeland was another TV series with the same type of premise. Look into any spy show and you will find this practice quite common. Second, when a secret society gains power, it doesn't stop there. It continues to build upon that power. Those that wish to attain such power through government will eventually succumb to these societies either through bribery or coercion. When you control these assets, you can conduct anything these assets control, including looking the other way on a specific day. This already happened on September 11th, 2001. So what makes you think it won't happen again, but on a much larger scale? Civil War 2.0 is coming. Destabilizing a country requires a duality so powerful that the entire nation participates in it. The Republican and Democrat duality fits this purpose, and I see many born-again believers fall for this ruse as well. The news is dropping hints of a civil war brewing, and that seed planting has taken root. This is further evidence that the USA is about to fall. The Civil War will begin through the alphabet agencies inciting the public at demonstrations, most likely through the new lockdowns where one side will be afraid of a disease and the other afraid of losing their freedoms. Both sides are completely unaware that both have already happened. The injections implanted the diseases and the nanotechnology, and the freedoms have already been supplanted by the original 2020 coup. All that happens next is the destruction of the Constitution that the fear of disease will empower. This will transpire after the heavily forecasted death of Joe Biden. When Harris takes over as president, Due to the coming war, the US will be handed over to Obama, who will start out as a positive choice until his total control is set. Then he will begin a hostile takeover and enslavement for those who fight his tyrannical system. The disease outbreaks will happen in all countries. Those who have taken the harmful experiment will have chimeric payloads in their blood system. City water will be polluted, and the 5G towers will cause great harm to the public. The transhumanist agenda will be ready for the implementation, which all will be susceptible to, as the food and water we consume will be contaminated. Cancer will explode, and hospitals will collapse under pressure, as the vast majority will have taken the experiment. Zombies will start to appear, and remember, zombie only means that you no longer have control over your body. Whether it's being undead or alive, but not in control, like the movie Cell, matters not. Just understand that it's possible due to the transhuman element. BRICS makes their move when the USA attacks the BRICS member Iran. BRICS is an intergovernmental organization comprising of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. Originally identified to highlight investment opportunities, the grouping evolved into a cohesive geopolitical bloc, with their governments meeting annually at formal summits and coordinating multilateral policies since 2009. Bilateral relations among BRICS are conducted mainly on the basis of non-interference, equality, and mutual benefit. It is the direct competitor of the G7. BRICS is waiting for the country's division to begin. Once some of the US states initiate their mass violence, BRICS will start the world takeover for currency. The last piece of the economy puzzle lies with the Middle East. Putin visited in November, and it's been reported that he hasn't left Russia since the Ukraine theater, and those visits were to the world oil superpowers. And once the signings are announced, the move to destabilize US currency begins, and the powers that traded with the USA the most will suffer with them. The G7 will then be supplanted, and BRICS currency, the Chinese yuan, takes the world stage. The USA will have an answer for this in a government-controlled digital currency combined with a social credit score. Canada and Mexico will join the USA to form an EU-style answer to BRICS, which will fail, but its intention is to enslave the public, not return to a strong currency. Food will be available on the shelves at first, but few will be able to afford it. This will cause spoilage and riots. Those who have not prepared will storm grocery stores and then homes, and violence will be out of control. This, and the wave of disease breaking down the national services, will cause a need for martial law and total lockdown. The total lockdown will result in mandatory injections because of this unprecedented amount of disease and lack of emergency staff. This will cause mass violence through fear of either disease or the mandatory injection. Either way, it will cause violence, as the planned duality has programmed the masses to react this way. Mass war will come with the destruction of the major G7 strongholds, including the USA, Washington, D.C., Canada and Ottawa, Germany, the UK, and France. Most military and airport structures and energy production centers will be attacked as well. Power structures will cause rolling blackouts, and then finally there'll be a blackout for a week or weeks, and the implementation of the Black Awakening begins. You can read or hear about the Black Awakening in the library in the book folder, link in the description. The Black Awakening is a secret super soldier program performed on satanic ritual abuse victims. This program is over 70 years old, and these people have been inserted into the emergency programs, church programs, government positions, and will implement a total anarchy situation, destroying the cities and towns and murdering everyone who gets in their way, and church leaders. Many who have been Black Lodge members teaching false doctrines will fall, but also the authentic pastors and teachers of the true gospel. But remember, there will be a remnant. Finally, a fake alien invasion that will be used to simulate a hostile world takeover. This will be stacked with the Black Awakening, as the sky will be filled with anti-grav ships and Project Bluebeam projections projected through the mind and in the sky. Here we have the Deagel report, which forecasts the population for each country in 2025. The Deagel Corporation is a minor branch of the U.S. military intelligence under the Department of Defense, one of the many secretive organizations which collects data for high-level decision-making purposes, and prepares confidential briefing documents for agencies like the National Security Agency, the United Nations, and the World Bank. Deagel should be seen as a legitimate player in the intelligence community and not merely a disinformation asset. If so, then it must be assumed that its population predictions for 2025, as well as its industrial output predictions on a nation-by-nation basis, are based on strategic assumptions, which are shared and well understood by other players in the intelligence community. Therefore, the findings would not be common knowledge, but understood only through plans made within the world intelligence community and those with top secret clearance. On April 20th, 2021, Deagel.com deleted their mysterious 2025 forecast spreadsheet that predicted a major collapse of the Western countries. The UK has the biggest percentage of loss at 78.5%, with a population of 65 million, dropping to 14 million, followed by Ireland with 75%, with a population of 5.2 million, dropping to 1.3 million, and coming in third is the USA, with a 70% drop in population, but the largest drop of people from 332 million down to 99 million. That's a loss of 233 million people. Some will be through fleeing the country, but most of it will be through loss of life. You can see all but one of the G7 countries on the first page. Copies of the Deagel report will be in the library, and you can visit the Wayback Machine to view the copy of the original website. I'll place the link in the description. After the destruction caused in 2024, approximately 500 million will be dead. This death will act as a demonic sacrifice. When you study the occult rituals, you can see how ritual sacrifice plays a role in breaking down the veil, allowing the demonic realm to pass through into our realm at will. The Black Lodge will have been decimated, and the White Lodge will begin the disclosure event along with introducing us to the demonic entities who will be labeled as alien races who can now freely walk in our realm as the lower veil will be uncovered. It is here where the White Lodge will expose that all the Black Lodge has done from the help of the evil aliens. This is their narrative, not mine. This is why I call the Black Masons the patsies on this channel. They are sacrificed for the purpose of manipulating humanity. Yes, the Black Lodge did all of this evil, but they were led to do this evil so they could be used as a human sacrifice and create an environment suitable for trauma-based mind control on the human race. They will uncover the so-called plots of evil aliens who have enslaved us for hundreds of thousands of years, and they will drop a narrative bomb that we were also created by these aliens. They will expose the firmament as an energy field, and that the only way to travel to other worlds is through portals or wormholes. Aliens will start to live among us, with the human-looking ones coming first, then the more demonic-looking ones shortly after. The population will rebuild with the fallen angel technology. Medbeds will be introduced along with Star Trek-like technology. The true gospel of Yahushua HaMashiach will be revealed, fulfilling Matthew 24:14. Then the gospel will be called a fake, and we will be told that it was used as a way to control the population, which most of the world has been programmed to believe anyway by the Black Lodge. The falling away begins and then the Antichrist will reveal himself out of the White Lodge, and the tribulation will be in full force with the final days upon us. The two witnesses will be revealed, and the remnant will go underground. This is the rundown of our reality outline for 2024. Those who have a relationship with Jesus will not fear, for they know the truth, and the writing will be on the wall for many of them, and the time of revelation will be upon the world. Everything that I have presented has been hinted at already. I am not a prophet, but I encourage you to visit the Master's Voice Prophecy blog for more details. In regards to this blog, please keep your destructive thoughts to yourself, as you have no idea what this woman has to put up with, not only from the constant visions and dreams of violence and tribulations, but also to the rude and horrid comments thrown at her daily, and the church has been a big part of the horrid comments, which is shameful. This channel is not interested in your opinion of the blog, nor your conspiratorial thoughts on how she dresses, her tone of voice, nor if you think she's a liar. If you've told one lie in your life, then by God's judgment, you are a liar. But that does not mean that we are constantly lying. The rundown of our reality is an excellent match for the Master's Voice as we talk about the same topics from different sources. So, if you think Celestial is a liar, then you must also believe that I too am a liar, and you may kindly go in peace. The time is too short to suffer such stubbornness and lack of discernment. In 2025 and beyond, the med beds will help men augment themselves into whatever they want. People will want to be older or younger or taller or stronger. Will they want wings or look like the so-called aliens that they find beautiful? Will they destroy their bodies and participate in abominations of all sorts and fall victim to the demonic sins that keep them in chains? Well, I absolutely believe that will happen. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And being that they'll be surrounding us, man will fall victim to much of what they offer. One last piece of insight before I go. I keep saying that this is man doing this to man. This is true, but it's the powers and principalities in the demonic realm guiding man to corrupt and destroy man. This is why the war in heaven happens. Man is so awful and evil during this time that the remaining angels that make up the 1/3 of the host of heaven join the already fallen and doomed angels. These angels know where they will go, but believe so much that we should be utterly destroyed that they forsake God in heaven and follow the doomed into the pit. They know this is going to happen. They do it anyway. Under the guidance of the demonic realm, this is how awful man is going to be. This is how awful our time will be. Prepare yourself accordingly and walk in peace and prayer, and do not fear the works of man. Repent of your sins, and as Bill and Ted say, be excellent to each other. May God give you discernment, wisdom, and bless you abundantly in these difficult days ahead.